I've always been fascinated by how we humans learn new skills. You know, that moment when you suddenly realize you can do something you couldn't before? It's like magic. But it's not magic, it's science. And today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of skill mastery. Buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you might just change the way you think about practice forever. Now, you might be thinking, Darnell, isn't practice all about muscle memory? Well, not exactly. See, when we practice a skill, it's not just our muscles that are changing, it's our brains. Every time you repeat an action, you're actually rewiring your brain. This change isn't happening in the gray matter of your brain, which is what most people think of when they imagine the brain. No, the real magic is happening in the white matter. It's like you're creating a superhighway for that specific skill. This is the part of the brain that's responsible for transmitting signals between different areas. And when we practice, we're essentially upgrading this transmission system. You know what's really cool? Myelin. It's this fatty substance that wraps around the nerve fibers in our brain's white matter. Think of it like the insulation on an electrical wire. The more myelin we have, the faster and more efficiently signals can travel through our brain. And guess what? Practice increases the layers of myelin around these nerve fibers. This means that when you practice, you're not just getting better at the skill itself. You're actually making your brain faster and more efficient at performing that skill. It's like you're upgrading your brain's hardware every time you practice. Imagine if your computer got faster every time you used it. Now, I know what you're thinking. But Darnell, what about muscle memory? Isn't that a thing? Well, sort of, but not in the way most people think. You see, muscles don't actually have memory. They're just following orders from your brain. Think about it like this. When you're first learning a new skill, it's like your brain is sending those orders via snail mail. But as you practice, it's like upgrading to email, then to instant messaging, and finally to some kind of futuristic telepathic communication. The order itself doesn't change, but the speed and accuracy of delivery sure does. That's why a professional pianist can play complex pieces without even thinking about where to put their fingers. Their brain is just that good at sending the right signals super fast. So now that we know what's really happening when we practice, how can we use this knowledge to get better at, well, getting better? First off, quality matters more than quantity. Mindless repetition isn't going to cut it. You need to be focused and engaged. It's like the difference between reading a book while watching TV and reading a book in a quiet room. Secondly, embrace the struggle. When you're practicing, you should be working at the edge of your ability. If it feels easy, you're probably not improving much. And lastly, take breaks. Your brain needs time to process and consolidate what you've learned. It's during these breaks that a lot of the myelination happens. Did you know that elite performers often practice for 50, 60 hours a week, but they break it up into multiple sessions? They're not just working hard, they're working smart. So next time you're learning a new skill, remember, focus intensely, challenge yourself, and then give your brain time to do its magic. So there you have it. Mastering a skill isn't about mindless repetition or some mystical muscle memory. It's about rewiring your brain, one myelin layer at a time. Next time you're practicing, remember that you're not just training your body, you're upgrading your brain. And that, my friends, is the true science of skill mastery. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some practicing to do. Maybe I'll finally master that unicycle juggling act I've been working on.